Yes, please. If you have any question before. Okay, welcome everyone. We'll start our lesson 3. Today lesson will go through our LO3 learning outcome 3. As you know me, my name Anjum Satha. Please, if you have any question, drop me email anjum@ukversity.co.uk. And please, during our delivery, if you want like to ask any question, please you can just chat in the chat box. We'll go through accordingly. Okay, so today lesson is looking LO3, which is about be able to calculate the VAT and complete the VAT return, and we'll discuss about different VAT value-added tax, return and different schemes, those we use. So that will be the key in our. Of course, we are well aware of, how much turnover we supposed to be registered compulsory VAT 85,000. If your turnover drop down to 83, we can deregister ourselves. Of course, which year finance sector you're applying is carry on looking and reviewing, because it's carry on changing. VAT limit always carry on changing. Okay, so hope you can hear me. If any question, please feel free, always ask her. So you can unmute yourself if you want to ask any question, or you can chat in the chat box. Thank you. Thanks for joining. We'll start. Okay, so today lesson key focus will be on value added tax, which we know the standard rate is 20%. We know the reduced rate is 5%. We know the flat rate can be varies, depends which sector, which industry we are talking about. So that's further we need to look around, and we'll look around input and output tax. So please, we discuss about the period, accounting period, financial years, VAT returns. We had a discussion in the previous lesson, capital gain tax. Today is key focus will be VAT value added tax. Yeah. Okay, so please, all the rates, we are following now Finance Act 2024, please, until 31st January we can, or if you want to apply any other tax year, the rates, so please be careful and go through the rates accordingly. Okay, so here is VAT turnover according to this Finance Act, which is 85,000. You can deregister, but if you want to voluntary register, which HMRC, you can register voluntary as well. Okay, so if you delay the return, please, up to 15 days, no penalty. But if you do more than 16 to is 2%, or more than, it can be 4% plus, 4% daily rate. So we need to be make sure the time and the return should be done accordingly. Okay. So these are the rules which we need to be follow, and we can look around today. Of course, we're not looking others. These are all the rates. Okay, of course, you need tax purposes, the company registered, the company is resident, and we can look around the rules, accordingly, the trading rules as well. Like within EU, we're not used to be VAT exempt. Now, of course, we are outside Brexit, so we have to follow the new rules. Okay, so please, I copied the link for you on the next slide. So if you copy the link, you can want to do some quizzes on VAT, you can do on the screen. Okay, so first, of course, we know VAT value added tax is 20%. So describe the registration and administration procedure of VAT, and we'll discuss about review when organization voluntarily and compulsory registered or deregistered. So that's all, So 85,000 is the compulsory limit. Whenever you hit the limit, it's a compulsory to be registered with HMRC. And you can deregister yourself when 83, and if you want to volunteer register, then of course you can whenever you want to. Okay, because especially when you're in the building and construction industries, where you have input VAT you can claim and you're not charging output VAT, and then of course you can do the refunds. Okay, so indirect tax normally is borne by the final customer, really the beer all, and administrated by HMRC, collected by VAT, registered, the traders in course of the business. They are actually tax collectors. Output is on sales and input is on the purchase, is the VAT which we sorry. So input we can claim back and output we pay to HMRC. Basically, we do the difference between, and then we can say either is a refund from HMRC or we have to pay to HMRC. So also apply to import of the goods. VAT applies to the taxable supplies of goods and the services made in the UK by taxable person in the course of business. The person who registered are to be registered, so not acknowledge needed of the category of an item which we can at the applicable rate. So we can look around taxable supplies, standard rate 20%, reduced rate 5%. There are the product which is zero rated. Then question can be, what is meant by zero rated? Zero rated goods are those goods, those are count towards, the turnover, but it's not count to paying VAT on them. Yes, so we, because the threshold will count, the 85, you have, let's say 20,000 worth of the zero rated product. Okay, exempt supply, we not charge, so we can look around like children clothes and various other things. Exempt the suppliers cannot be registered and cannot be reclaimed. Okay, compulsory registration must be registered within 30 days. At the end of the month, the value of the taxable supply excluding VAT exceeds the registration limit, which is 12 calendar months. So must register without delays at the time and reasonable ground for belief that the value of the taxable supply will exceed next within 30 days. Then of course you can register as well. Okay, so trader can choose, VAT registered even his supply fall below the registration because input VAT can be claimed, administrative burden can be, but the possible penalties are non-VAT registered, the customer disadvantage. So we need to be look around these. So please here taxable supplies exceed, more than 85,000 in next 30 days alone. The future turnover rules, yes, must registered. Do taxable supply date maximum 12 months exceed 85,000? Yes, you can register, not registered to the VAT, but can be voluntary registered if less than, if not 85. Okay, that's the rule. Okay, so suppliers can deregister themselves if the turnover drop down to 83, threshold exceed temporarily. So please, we need to be look around and demonstrated the threshold being exceeded. Okay, and the failure to register, supply made by effective registration date deems to be VAT inclusive, and the trader must pay appropriate, VAT on the sales, and the trader can seek, recover the VAT from the customer. Okay, so please, if you want to, I copy the link for you, which is we use for ATHE and forms, so we can look around those as well. Otherwise, we'll go through the VAT form in the text. In our next lesson, which will go through assignment discussions as well. Okay, so tax point, please, that's also quite crucial to understand VAT purposes. Basic tax point, goods at the date on which the goods removed are made available to customer, the service is completed. So we not VAT when the service is completed, then VAT, please. And the actual tax date, the date of invoice issued, the payment made before the basic tax point. And alternative, if the tax point is not used, the invoice date and the invoice issued within 14 days after the basic tax point, that's which we can look around the rule that we need to be deal with accordingly. So please, if you have any question like to ask, you can. So deposit and advance payment. So there are maybe two tax point when the deposit is paid. One is the deposit, another is the balance. So tax point on the deposit is often payment date is at the actual occur before the delivery of the goods within. So that can be, so pro forma invoices have no impact, on the tax point. Wait in the real VAT invoices before, determine the tax point. Okay. Then please, again, we included the link for you and it's quite good to explore more. Okay. Error correction, please. If you have the in return, we have the correction. So if the net errors is not deliberately, but more than 10,000, 1% of the turnover, it will be exceed the errors correction reporting threshold. So you have to report, detail errors must be dishonestly separately to HMRC errors correction team, and error exceeding the threshold cannot be adjusted in the next VAT. Error reported writing to HMRC error correction team VAT 652 form, and we can look around. Not succeeding can be corrected in the VAT return. Box 1, yes please, which we need to be looking on the sales. Yes, if there is a net output error and if net input error, so those we need to be look around these. Okay, late return, of course, issues surcharge liabilities, we need to be look around the payment default assessment. If the VAT return is not submitted, so please we have to look around. HMRC can raise, assessment on the belief of, if the businesses fail to notify within 30 days, this amount is too low to be liable for a penalty. Careless deliberately added, they will be liable to penalty adjusted, in the next return. And inaccurate return, the penalty can be reduced. Tell HMRC. Failure to keep records should be kept, 6 years, and penalty could be imposed. So failure to register, penalty can be imposed, and failure to so these we need to be look around. Please, if you have any question, you carry on asking. Fraudulent tax surveillance, we know, it can be fine, falsely claim, but understand the output VAT, falsely obtain the bad debt relief, falsely obtain the repayment, and tax avoidance is illegal. Tax surveillance is a criminal. Yes, so we can look around the penalties, the minor cases of infraction will be settled with penalties, but more extreme cases will result to fine or imprisonment. Okay, HMRC bullet point, of course, notices website, changes carry on, which we need to be effect on the cash flow, communicate, the VAT payment amount and due dates, So of course, HMRC is helping, in those perspectives. So impact on the system and the customers, the computerized system may be adaptation of the accommodate the changes in the legislation, which we have to look around, and the customer may need to be informed, significant chances that affect, them. So we have to look around changes in VAT rate. Okay, so HMRC website, VAT helpline advice, on the queries, contact with the client, HMRC should be, and please carry on doing CPD, continuous professional development to be up to date, with the because one of the professional code of ethics is called professional competencies and due care, which is main up to date knowledge. That is quite, which we need to be consult if you're especially in the member of practice and you're dealing with the clients and the VAT. Okay, so fundamental principle: integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, professional competence, and professional behavior. To remember easily, you can say popular people chat in office. P first is a professional behavior. Next P is professional competency, due care, up to date knowledge, confidentiality, not declaring information to third party. Integrity, of course, we need to be honest, in HMRC methods, so we need to be think about. So different VAT schemes we can choose. Annual accounting, it means you do the once a year return, not every quarter. Annual accounting or taxable turnover must not exceed 135. So please, that's we need to be look around. Uh, so to join an annual return of 2 months after the year end, so we need to be look around. The payment shouldn't be 1.6, excluding VAT for next 12 months. So you have to, you can, otherwise you have to If your turnover is more than that, then have to deregister and we find the other standard scheme. So only one return each year. Payment spread even through the most of the year, and the monitor the supply to ensure the turnover not exceed and the payment based on the previous year turnover. That's which we carry on making the payment every quarter. Cash accounting. Cash accounting can be used with the annual accounting. It means when you receive the cash, when you make the payments, and then you can do the VAT. Otherwise, you're not, do the return. Basis of the paid, or receive annual taxable turnover must not exceed 1.3. So please, that's we need to be look around to join all VAT return, and the payment must be up to date, and we can look around 1.6, can be within next 12 months. VAT never, paid, or the HMRC bad debt. So bad debts will be automatically adjusted because, of course, if you're receiving cash, you're making payment, then you're making payment to HMRC. So otherwise, a standard is please you have to wait 6 months to claim the the bad debt relief if you want the credit sale, credit purchase, and paid in HMRC. So we can look around these please. Further, accordingly, when you do return, okay. So one is a flat rate, please. If you want to be flat rate to join, you pay one rate. You not need to be keep the record of input or output invoices. So what you can do overall your turnover, just pay the flat rate. So if your turnover is 150,000 and if your turnover stays up to 230,000, simplify administration deal with the VAT on the purchase invoices can reach to the less, VAT payable and discount 1% given first year registration can be and cannot be reclaimed VAT on the purchases as expense and flat rate apply to the all turnover, whatever we do, so that can be 9-10% instead of 20. So that's, normally lower than. So as we mentioned, please, we have to follow the professional code of ethics earlier. So business entertaining, the input tax entertaining cannot be reclaimed and can reclaim if an entertaining overseas customer. Input tax on the entertaining stock can be reclaimed. We can the cars and the van input cannot be reclaimed on the purchase of the car. Input tax can be reclaimed on the purchase of the van, but you can claim the capital allowance in the tax. That's other, of course, when you do the corporation tax. Okay, so exception exclusively for the business purposes, which we can look around within the taxi business or within so the car is purchased, so there are the exceptions. So fuel scale surcharge reclaim input, yes, so which we can look around please, fuel and pay output tax. Okay, when input tax recover on the purchase, yes, we can charge on the output tax on sale, yes, and most of the cars no and no. So we can look around if the car is purely for taxi business and then okay, partially exemption, yes, taxable supply, exempt supplies. So we can look around the VAT attributes according to the category of, or we can look around VAT wholly exempt supplies and recovery. Sorry, de-minimize limit, is the limit. All input is recoverable if the total input attributes to exempt supply is below than the de-minimize limit, which is we took in is carry on chaining, which is 140 pounds. So export and imports, please. All the goods outside EU, we use export. Yes, zero rated and import, outside EU are same rate on the purchase of the same within the UK. That's apply. Dispatches and acquisition, the word used to be within the EU. If you register within EU, don't not both buyer and seller, you're not supposed to pay VAT, but now the rules are changed, so we have to be look around these perspectives. Okay, so VAT record must be kept, as we said, up to 6 years. So please, all the day books and returns and invoices and those standard rated, reduced rate, zero rate, exempt can be. So we discussed, earlier, which I mentioned you. So we have to be make sure standard rate 20%, zero rate is mean the count towards the threshold, but won't count towards. So we need to be make sure, we'll follow these. Okay, so name and address of the suppliers if we can, customer, text point for each different types of item. So we can look around description of the goods and supplies, VAT, decrease output and input. Of course, we need to be make adjustment accordingly. Must maybe issue the invoice amount no more than 250, including VAT. Performa invoices mean not full detail invoices. You're not giving full details, so that can be. So trade discount, please deduct before the calculating and settlement discount. Now is the new rules. Please amount VAT charge is determined whether the discount is taken. So please we put the put the full VAT on the VAT. If somebody takes within that period, we can claim back. That's if things are changed. So because that's we'll go through the pro forma in a minute. Bad debts relief we mentioned earlier. We have to wait 6 months, but if you're doing cash accounting, you can. So of course, VAT, fuel surcharge, and all we need to be look around again. Each category separate rules as well. But this is the pro forma. Please, we need to be fill in VAT due in the first period sale and output. If VAT due in this period, acquisition mean the purchase and plus the total VAT and then VAT reclaim of input, and then we can look around the total VAT input and output. So within EU trading and purchase and all we can show separately here, and then we need all 6 boxes, 8, 9 boxes. We need to be make sure fill, because otherwise if you're using the software normally when input and output VATs, the software can pick and fill accordingly. Okay, so view the sales. So all the guidance here, the figures, which figures goes in which column, please. That's we need to be look around. Of course, you don't need to be memorize it. Really, it's come in actual. When we do assignments, we can include the pro forma. We can fill it one off. I can give you figures if you want to, or you can pick. Of course, we're not looking the information of your client, but generic information we can. VAT return 1 month and the 7 days, and after return period, and the payment due, which we can electronic payment online, please, which we can, and late return and the payment issues with the surcharge liabilities. Assessment with VAT return is not submitted, HMRC can raise the assessment on to believe to be owed, and careless, deliberately, as this can be leads to the fine and penalties, and of course in imprisonment. Inaccurate return penalty can be reduced if the HMRC and the failure to register, of course, that can be penalty. Fraudulent and taxation, of course, falsely declaim, VAT, falsely obtain bad debt relief, tax avoidance, taxation, and penalty. Those we need to be make sure we'll clear on these as we discuss on the fine. So please, if we have the included next return, if it less no more than 10,000, if you exceed 50,000 and more than 10, so 1% of the turnover current period, or deliberately as it leads to. So we have to be look around these, and it can be fine. Okay, so please, I included the link for you for further discussion, and I included the chapter of the book which we can look around. Osborne is available on our Moodle. So please, we can fill the form, we can add one example, and that's going to meet the criteria of assignment, which we'll go through in our assignment discussion. Any question, please, here if you have? So that's all from my end. Today is the VAT schemes, and we discuss about VAT form, and we discuss about VAT threshold, and that these are the crucial point we need to keep in mind, when we do the VAT return. Huh?
Yeah, sorry. I want to ask a question about the reduced rates. 5% reduced VAT.
It's a reduced rate is only like if domestic gas electricity bills, huh?
Oh, okay, all right, that's fine.
Certain, if the categorized within that, HMRC, so we can look around the categories of the goods, huh? but normally it's a domestic only, not commercial. Huh? Even broadband is the mobile phone is 20, but domestic gas electricity is 5. Huh?
Oh, okay.
But if you have a client, they have upstairs is flat and downstairs is commercial, so they can proportion it and they can VAT can be reduced to 5%.
Okay.
So that can be client can save 15% on the gas electricity bill. Plus the climate levy, when the VAT will be 5%, it will be clustered as a domestic, and then there is a 0.79 pence every kilowatt is a climate levy. So that will be reduced as well.
Okay.
Yes, so that's all from my end. Any other question you like to ask? Next lesson we'll go through our next our area and we'll do the assignment discussion.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
Thank you. Thanks for joining. Have a lovely week.
Thank you. Bye.